The following is a paid program. The content is provided by the advertiser. WSTU, its staff, management, and owners are not responsible for the content. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Blackridge Asset Management is a separate and independent entity from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Member, FINRA, SIPC. And now, Today with Denny, here's Denny Artachi.
Good morning. Another beautiful day. It never gets old here in South Florida. How you doing today, Mr. Evan? I have a producer, ladies and gentlemen, who has many hats that he wears. He has a radio show. He's the Mets announcer. He has 4 kids, a DJ business, and he's a devout Christian. So how you doing today, Mr. Evan?
I am fantastic. And how are you and yours?
I'm good. It's another great day. Warm side of dirt that we got to wake up on. I'm very excited about our special guest today because this show is about many different things. A lot of you know I'm a financial planner. I'm also an entertainer. So we like to have guests in different walks of life. And today we have a great friend, Christina Bianca, who is a CBD oil specialist. Is that the official title on that when you kind of know this stuff, or?
I really wouldn't say expert or specialist.
All right. So what do you call yourself? Christina. Yes, yeah. I got you. Okay. So, the thing is interesting. This craze is taking off in the country, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, talk to me. First of all, how did you get involved in this, in the CBD oil?
So how it really all happened was I had been dealing with scoliosis my whole life.
Yes.
Curvature of the spine started at 13 degrees. Now I think it's up to 2 curves at 35 each. So I had been dealing with pain my whole life. And in 2018, right next to the business my husband and I own, a CBD store opened. So I went in and I said, welcome to the plaza, because my doctor had prescribed CBD oil, a tincture, and it didn't touch my symptoms. So I kind of chalked it off as CBD didn't work for me.
So your doctor actually gave you a prescription for CBD oil?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 years ago.
Okay.
When everything started coming out in Florida, I qualified because of my spine.
Oh, okay. Which you don't want to have to qualify for that,
no,
right?
You really don't.
I remember talking to you because, you and Frank are like family. I love you both. And man, you were in such pain. I stopped asking you because you were like, listen, dude, stop asking me about my back. Okay. It's not any better.
Just assume it hurts if you saw me. Absolutely.
Yes. And so, I mean, geez, what did you take for it? Did they give you the oxycodone
They tried.
stuff?
I refused that. I knew what would happen.
Yeah.
I would build a tolerance. I would take more and I would become addicted.
Yeah.
So it was injections. They tried to give me Percocet. I took for a while. I took Vicodin, and then I stopped everything because I wasn't interested in Band-Aids. I didn't want to keep getting injected. I didn't want the medication in my system. I didn't want to be dependent on those things that were just so temporary. So when I walked into the CBD store, I said, hey, welcome to the plaza. The owner's daughter was in there and she said, you know about this. What are you on? And I just whispered, this stuff doesn't work.
Yeah.
And she said, what?
So the same store that you own now?
Yes.
Okay. Did Frank make him an offer that they couldn't refuse? Is that how you wound up with the business?
Kind of.
Kind of?
No.
Oh, that's nice.
So the difference was most people at that point were doing CBD oil under the tongue. This store was known for their water-soluble CBD. So the difference is absorbency. With water soluble, you're going to absorb 92.5% of every dose, and you're going to feel it within 5 to 15 minutes. So once I learned about that, I knew that my endocannabinoid system just needed more of an absorbency for CBD to work for me. Tried the products. 5 days later, 80% of my pain was gone. Plus the
80% in 5 days?
In 5 days, I woke up. And I just kept waiting for the pain to drop. If you deal with chronic pain, you get about 60 seconds when you wake up where you're like, wow, this is perfect. And then it hits you. And that morning, it just didn't hit. So I was like, oh my gosh, I think it's the CBD.
Your store is so impressive.
Thank you.
You go in there, but I got to tell you, it's if you don't know any better, you would think it's a Cheech and Chong movie or something, because that stuff, you actually smoke it as well. The hemp, but it has no THC in it.
Well, full
So that's the
spectrum,
difference.
it's going to have a trace amount, but it is below the federal legal limit, which is 0.3%.
Okay.
So,
because when you opened up, I think you mentioned that you had some sheriffs that came in.
Yeah, after it was about a year, the store was there, and really nice gentleman came in uniform, and he couldn't sleep.
Sure.
So we had a conversation. I told him about some products, and the hemp flower, CBD flower, had just started coming out, which the hemp plant buds and flowers like marijuana.
So you do smoke that?
So
that
you smoke
flower.
it, yeah.
Okay.
You can absolutely smoke it. So I showed him a little bud or piece of flower. And he said, "This is a felony.
This is a
you
felony,
can't do
right?"
This. Because he thought it was marijuana.
Did he bring the dogs in?
He asked if he could. Yeah, and
he
they
really did.
Yeah, we talked for a long time, and he said that he wanted some of the other officers, to be familiar with it and see. And it was confusing because here it is. It looks just. It
looks just like it. I'm telling you, if you're pulled over with that in your car, I'm sorry, I don't think the CBD hemp thing is going to work. They're probably going to take you in.
Actually,
it does?
It does now.
Why?
It's pretty much decriminalized because on the field, they might now, I'm not sure, this was about a year and a half ago, they didn't have a percentage test.
Okay.
So if you take the CBD flower, which is full spectrum, that means it has a trace amount, and you put it in the liquid that they test roadside, it's going to hit for THC.
So it does come up positive.
It will come up. It can.
See?
So I said, I just don't want you pulling my customers over. I know some young people sometimes are a little cocky, and it's legal, and they might be at the intersection.
Right,
and it looks like it, and it smells like it. So,
I can see the news now. Radio show host, financial planner gets arrested for hemp and CBD. But
the charges won't stick.
Yeah, but in the meanwhile, I'll get to be shown a private room for a few hours until I get bailed out.
And get your attorney to send the product to a lab.
But, it seems like most people take the oil, they don't smoke it. That's what they do, right? They ingest the oil pretty much.
Pretty much that's your traditional way is the oil, or now the water soluble. There's capsules.
Okay.
But the inhalation has really exploded. A lot of, which is really nice, a lot of young people. So for New Year's Eve, I had people in, they were from college, and all they wanted was CBD. And just out of curiosity, I said, is there a reason that your age group isn't seeking THC? And they said, yes, because we're more clear-headed. We can think better. We feel good, but there's
and
no
being
negative.
Arrested kind of gets in the way of plans, holiday vacation plans. I feel bad for the law enforcement because honestly, how do you know? It looks just like it.
It looks just like it.
I mean, look, I was the lead single guitar player for Iron Butterfly, and I'm telling you, if someone had that stuff back then, I would have smoked it and not known any difference.
Mm-hmm.
But I think you mentioned to me, one of the biggest things that CBD oil helps with is inflammation.
Huge.
And that's what's killing our society because of our diet.
Oh, yeah.
So, we even joked about it. You said that they have it in suppository form?
They have it in every form. Yes. So
is it better than Preparation H? Because, it deals with inflammation, right?
Sure. It's all natural. It's a plant.
Okay. So someone we know also said that it helped him with prostate issues. It shrunk his prostate.
Yes. So I cannot make any medical claims. I can just tell stories of customers, people that I know. Definitely a gentleman was dealing with an enlarged prostate where he was about to have a surgical procedure.
Yeah.
Started on a very strong milligram of the water soluble. 5 weeks later, went to get the results of blood work. Blood work came back great. Was checked at the doctor. Prostate had reduced its size, and that procedure was not necessary. So I was like, wow, inflammation is the name of the game. Same with my spine. So I'm bone on bone in the SI joints. I have osteoarthritis. I'm only 45.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. And they told me I would always need surgery to separate the bone on bone. Then after a couple of months in, I learned that without the inflammation, the bone on bone isn't going to rub against,
So are you pain-free now?
I wouldn't say I'm pain-free. It's the nature of the beast with the spine. It curves, it rotates.
But from a percentage standpoint.
Oh yeah, I'm
like 80% or so.
I'm wearing high shoes today.
Wow.
I have my life back. I can do things.
So here's the other thing that listeners probably want to know, because I don't know if insurance would cover this. Would they?
Unfortunately,
They
no.
don't. Okay. So how expensive is it to, get a typical dosage, let's say someone comes in there in chronic pain or whatever the issue is, what would you say they would have to spend to get on a regimen in what you do?
Definitely depends on what issues they're walking in with. If it's somebody that just has some anxiety, I would definitely start them on the lowest milligram.
Okay.
So in the water soluble, it starts the 300 milligram bottles 55, and in the tincture, the 250 milligram is 45.
Okay. And how long does that last?
That's typically a 30-day supply.
Okay.
And we do free samples because the products work so fast with the topical creams and the water soluble. We like you to try it before you buy it. Sometimes I even encourage people to go run their errands for the day and see how it affects them. And then we can figure out if that's a good starting point for them.
If you have any questions for Christina, call in. The number here is 772-220-9788. What is the address of your store?
It is 2761 Northwest Federal Highway.
Okay.
Zip coded in Stewart, but we're really in Jensen, across the street from Panera Bread and Men's Warehouse.
I think Evan said he's been to isn't that a clothing store next to your
us, Men's Rags.
Men's Rags. See, the sign is there and everything. So if you want to buy clothes or feel good, you can get it all done at once. And they even have a golf store in there.
Yes.
Of course, you and Frank have a very successful jewelry business as well.
Right next door to the CBD.
Yeah. So, you've been doing well in spite of the what's happened with the COVID and everything. And it seems to me like people are looking for other ways of dealing with health issues, inflammation issues. This also affects your mood, right? This helps
absolutely.
people that.
I had chronic anxiety since I was a kid, just bad anxiety. And the CBD works directly with the serotonin receptor. So it's very anti-anxiety effect.
Okay.
It's a much safer alternative to medicine. It's a plant, it's highly tested, third-party lab results. I think we all know that medication was designed to mask the problem and keep you in the 30-day having a customer every 30 days. And
we're not bashing traditional medicine, because for all the litigious attorneys that are listening, and we're not saying that, but I think more Americans are liking natural alternatives to health issues. I mean, they really are. A lot of problems that we Americans have is our diet. We just don't eat well. 100%. We don't exercise enough. We don't drink enough water. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times these pharmaceutical drugs mask the issue. It may make them feel okay, but it doesn't. But this stuff actually works on the inflammation and the serotonin levels.
Amazing. And it works for so many things. And it's about this beautiful system that God gave us inside, an endocannabinoid system. And it's
There's that big word, cannabinoid. Do you know what that means, Evan? Cannabinoid systems?
We'll call it the ECS.
ECS?
To shorten it. And the ECS's job is to promote homeostasis and balance things in us, like pain and pleasure, sensation, inflammation, mood, appetite, joy, fear, even reproduction. So it's a system of receptors. Once the CBD enters your system, it stimulates and binds to those receptors, sending a signal to the ECS so you can produce more cannabinoids, and that's where the homeostasis comes in.
You see, and I thought Frank married you because you were beautiful. See, I didn't know that you keep him up at night with this knowledge, right?
Yes, I keep him up with knowledge.
Well, the other thing is too, people probably, they would wonder if people can get hooked on this, but it doesn't have any toxicity effects, correct?
No, there's no tolerance.
Unless you really go over. I mean, can you overdose on this CBD oil?
To date, there's been no overdoses on any type of cannabis, CBD, marijuana. But at some point, you're just wasting it if you're taking too much. You're just wasting your money. Your body's only going to use so much. Yeah. For me, I fight a lot of inflammation. Yeah. So I start my morning with 40 milligrams.
Okay.
Typically, people are between 10 and 25 for the day. It just kind of depends what you're going through.
Yeah, with marijuana, when you have too much, you go to sleep after you've eaten the wrong food or something.
And I'll tell you a fun little fact. THC binds and blocks the receptor that tells your brain you're full.
Oh, is that right?
So that's why some people will just uncontrollably eat.
So that's why the potheads come up with all these big meals and they're on the couch. We're going to take a brief break here and come back with Christina Bianco and the CBD oil. And we are back. You know, I want you to share with the listeners the funny story that when you did this, because they didn't know, law enforcement basically said, hey, this is a felony. You can't sell this. And so how did you deal with that? I mean.
So I actually showed the officer
the
flower, and I said, this is new. It's coming out. Everybody's going to be selling it.
Sure.
And he didn't know.
No, how do you know? Exactly.
Yeah, he said,
well,
this is a felony and you're going to go to jail if you sell this. And I was like, no, it's that from the hemp plant at CBD. That plant buds and flowers. And he's like, no, this is marijuana because it smells just like it.
Right, but it's not technically marijuana. It's called hemp.
It's hemp. Yes.
It wasn't there also a big bust in New York where they had like tons of this, and they had arrested the guy, and then they had to let him go, and because they found out that it was indeed hemp and not marijuana.
Yes. So a few years ago in New York, they made a huge bust where they stood in front of all of the bud or flower, taking pictures, uploading it to their social media.
Yeah.
And then it wound up being a huge hemp farm. Wow.
So how rich was that guy after it was all said and done?
I don't know. Probably not as rich as the woman that got arrested in Disney for CBD oil, the 68-year-old or whatever.
She did?
It was.
She got arrested in Disney
a few years
with the
ago
oil?
Because it was full spectrum. So if you test it in the liquid, it's going to hit for marijuana, but it's not. And that's what happened with the police. So after I spoke with the officer for a while, he said, hey, do you mind if I have a couple of the, a couple undercover officers and the canine come up? And I was like, absolutely.
Sure.
So I did the same kind of presentation for them, explaining it. He said, can I test it? And I said, yeah, it was a field test, which is liquid. So he dropped it in there, shook it, and it turned purple, which indicate
was positive
THC.
for THC.
He said, listen, this is a felony. And I said, it's actually not, because with lab results, it shows that the marijuana, the THC level is below 0.3%. So he said, do you mind if I hide it and let the dog come in? And I was like, no. So the dog came in, the dog sniffed it out.
Right.
And he said, the dog's hitting on it. And I said, okay, tell me how you train your dogs. And he said, through evidence. I said, so you just told me that you train the dogs with the terpene. Terpenes are what gives plants their fragrance and aroma.
Okay.
So cannabis is hemp and marijuana. So they both smell the same and all of that.
Well, you got to understand, people lie to law enforcement on a daily basis, and I'm telling you, it looks just like it. So you can imagine you pull someone over, you see this in a car and they go, oh, no, officer, this is hemp. I'm not getting high from this. Yeah, right, buddy.
If he doesn't have their percentage test, then.
But you did say it puts you in a better mood, doesn't,
Oh, yeah.
Doesn't.
CBD is like a balancer of mood and everything.
But it doesn't make you high.
No, it
But
can't.
you could. All right. So let me ask you this. If you're working at a place that they drug test,
yes,
you'll come up positive.
You could.
It.
So I tell everyone that
So
comes
you
in,
hear this? If you work for a company that drug tests you, maybe you shouldn't load up on a CBD oil yet. But it would come up, right?
I explain to people because I've heard a lot of other places will tell you that this won't show on a test.
Yeah.
But I tell them there's absolutely a chance, depending on what kind of test you're taking.
Okay.
So you definitely have to be aware for employment or probation or whatever the circumstances are.
Yeah.
I'm very transparent
the news,
about
watching the news.
Yeah.
So besides inflammation and moods, and joint disorders, does it do, what else does it do? Does it help with circulation? I mean, what are the benefits?
Definitely helps with circulation. The CBD relaxes the arteries and allows the blood to flow smoother.
So maybe it helps with blood pressure.
Oh, it absolutely helps with
Really?
blood pressure. If your blood pressure is too high, it's going to pull it down. So what I tell people coming in on medication, take your readings at home. As long as you're consistent with CBD, taking it daily, the same amount, your readings you bring to your doctor and they start reducing milligrams, and eventually you can most likely come off of high blood pressure medication.
So look, think about how many people have high blood pressure and the meds that they have. You're telling me that the CBD oil will help in blood pressure.
It can help with blood pressure. Absolutely. And I've seen it. We've been there since 2018, and I have a lot of customers that are no longer
on blood pressure medication.
But they are taking the CBD consistently daily.
Okay.
Same thing if you were having seizures. We always want you to check with your doctor when introducing a new supplement, vitamin, or anything for interactions with medication, stuff like that.
Wow, this is pretty exciting. You're helping people, but you have to educate them first.
Yes,
think about it.
My favorite part.
So your store, I have yet to do the sample, but I think I'm going to do a sample today, right?
Yes.
So,
I'd love to have you
now
try
what are we doing here? I'm taking a drop. Is this CBD
So
oil?
This is a water soluble. So I'm going to give you 10 milligrams.
10. Okay. So
we're going to start you on just a little one, and you'll be able to feel it within 5 to 15 minutes. And the ratings
what am I going to feel?
through the roof.
Am I going to turn into a politician, or what's going on here?
No, you're just going to be calm, relaxed.
Will I be able to play my guitar better?
Yes, absolutely.
But I'm not getting high.
No, you won't get high.
All right. So.
Okay.
So how many drops you doing it, and how much? Okay.
Just 10 milligrams.
All right. And how much water should I put on here?
You could put, a few ounces, whatever you can drink.
All right.
I kind of do it as
so
a
here
shot.
You are, folks. I mean, I guess bourbon is out of the question. It's too early. So
too early.
Here's salute. Des salute. Chin's on. Okay.
Salute. And now what I gave you.
Wow, man. I want to hear a Cheech and Chong song right now, man.
That was out of a 1,200 milligram bottle. That's actually what I take.
That's like.
So if you took a lower milligram, it wouldn't taste. That's so concentrated in that bottle. It's a little bitter, that one, yeah. But everything else, there's
I'm going to go see Mom later on, so she can tell. She's listening to the show. She's probably going to be looking at me if I'm acting strange when she's making me food.
You'll be writing music.
But folks, I'm gonna lower my blood pressure today and help my joints by not smoking a joint.
Yes.
Right.
We don't have to have the psychoactive factor of it.
Well, everything, think about it. We drink coffee, we eat certain foods to adjust our mood. So why is this much different? And I think we have Mr. Mike Sparazza on the phone. Mike, are you there?
I am here.
Mike, I'm absorbing CBD oil as we speak, man. So
good for you.
I think it's great. The weather's good. The CBD oil is good. And how are things going in the PNC world today?
Things are good. I'm going to use another example of something I talked about last week, but I just had another example last night when I was working with somebody. This one wasn't 40. I think it was 45 years was the one last week. They were with the same company 45 years. This isn't as good, but it's 27 years. We quoted out, it was auto and home. We ended up doubling liability, doubling personal injury protection, uninsured motorist coverage, more liability on the home. We added an umbrella, and we cut the premium down by 50%. So he was at $3,500, and when at the end of it we got done with him, it was $1,700 for everything. And again, I know I stressed that example last week. I want to stress it again. You got to shop around. If you stay with the same place for too long, they'll just keep hiking your rates. And I mean, that's for him. That's a big savings for him and his wife. They're both working from home right now due to what's going on in the world, and they're trying to save as much money as they can. But that was a 50% cut in their insurance premiums.
Half of what you're paying and better coverage. I mean, years ago when I was out of my mind and sold health insurance, that was one of my mottos: 50% less, 100% better coverage.
Yep.
So, I mean, I guess some people, what they also don't do is they don't adjust their deductibles, right? Because that can help them tremendously in their premiums, right?
Yeah, I think there's a few things. Adjusting your deductibles is definitely one of them. Adjusting your coverage is another thing. What you needed 25 years ago, and this was the case with this gentleman, what he needed 25 years ago is not what he needs now. So I think that's something too. They won't just bump your coverage because you've been with them for so long. That's something you really got to do, or your broker should do for you. And then that's, I stress that all the time. You're absolutely right. Deductibles is a huge one. Some people start when they, first married or they're having their first kid, or they start with deductibles at $100 or $200. But over time, if you save money and you have a reserve there, maybe you can bump that to a $500 deductible or a $1,000 deductible, and it's not going to kill you if you have to put a claim through.
Well, I mean, look, if something major happens, 500 or 1,000 is not much money. It's like health insurance when people are using, say, a $2,000 deductible. That's not a lot of money if you have major heart surgery. And if it helps you with your premiums, I mean, that's what I would do. So the number to call is 855-TFG-AUTO. I'm happy to be partnered up with Mr. Sparazza, who's actually, Matt said he was a little fearful of you because you're a lot younger and bigger than he is. Did you hear him say that on the show last week?
Yeah, he could still probably take.
Never mess with an old guy. We don't mess around. We don't have time to waste.
Right.
But you're how old, Mike?
I am 28.
Forget it, dude. You're spring chicken. So, folks, if you like to save on your home and auto, call Mike. 15 minutes could save you a lot of money. 855-TFG Auto. I'm so happy that we're partnered up. He's helped a lot of our clients, so he can certainly help you. Any parting shots before I let you go back to that warm area that you live in the country?
Hey, we're over 50, so we're getting there.
Whoa.
With the frosting, we're getting
50
it's almost
degrees in
suntan
New
weather
York.
here.
All right, well, stay warm, buddy, and I'll talk to you
Sounds
next
good.
week.
We'll talk to you. Thanks.
All right, cool.
Bye-bye.
So, so you said 15 minutes, right? So if I'm feeling euphoric right now, that's kind of just in my
5
mind.
to 15, no.
Oh, really?
Very fast.
Oh my God. Maybe I should run for office here.
Do you feel
or something. I don't know. Do I look different?
No. You look happier.
Okay. Well, maybe that's what it is. Well, I'm happy that we're having great weather and that it seems more people are getting vaccinated with the COVID, that maybe, hopefully, this can be behind us sooner rather than later.
Speaking of vaccinated, I had a couple of people in 2 weeks come in saying their doctor told them to come to the store and get CBD to help with any of the, reaction or symptoms that they're having.
Okay. Well, Mom finally got her first shot
on
Monday. It took us for a long time to get it, but I don't think she'll try any CBD oil. I could maybe get a gummy bear or something to bring to her. She's so old-fashioned in school. She thinks like marijuana is like heroin.
Well, and they did that on purpose. You know, they were promoting hemp and farmers had to grow it. It was the law. And then basically when the families that own the nylon companies and the paper mills and the polyester and saw that hemp could replace everything, that's when the advertising started about, the devil's lettuce and how bad this was.
So that's interesting. Hemp is that much cheaper than cotton and in a lot of the other things that they make clothes with?
Yeah, and it grows a full crop in 4.5 months.
I've never seen hemp clothing. Where do they sell it?
They do. Some places still actually make hemp clothing.
Oh, they do? Okay.
And if they didn't try to make it such a negative, all of these buildings would be built of hempcrete. Hempcrete is fire resistant, mold resistant.
What is hempcrete?
Hempcrete would be replacing concrete.
Oh, got you.
The center of the stalk, the hemp herds, and limestone powder and water. That's it.
Well, it just seems to me like if it's less expensive, more durable, and a need for it, why hasn't it exploded and replaced all these? Well, I guess I know the answer.
Follow the money.
Yeah.
I would actually like to. Before we run out of time, I could talk about this for 6 hours.
No, this
straight.
is. I'm happy to have you. I want you, tell my audience whatever you want to share about this.
So for me personally, with the chronic anxiety, they prescribed me Xanax. So for 25 years, I took one Xanax a day, right around 6 p.m.
Okay.
And honestly, it was just another Band-Aid, but I became addicted to it, which I really didn't realize. I would have never used the word addicted.
Sure. No one ever wants to be addicted or can admit that they got addicted.
Yeah. So I was completely dependent on this. Every 24 hours, I had to take it. So in July, I decided, I have all these products at my disposal.
Sure.
CBD is really good for addiction. Alcohol, any type of cravings. That's why it's good for addiction. So July will be 1 year that I've had absolutely no Xanax.
That's awesome.
And I replaced it with CBD hard candies, gummies, whatever I have in the store.
And there really is no toxicity or side effects from it.
No, it's grown. The company that I franchised with, their farm is in Colorado.
Okay.
So it's very strict guidelines out there. It's all organic, all organically grown, third-party lab tested. There's no solvents, no pesticides. And the company that I franchised with is Hemp Drops. And they're amazing. They're vertically integrated. They control everything from putting the seed in the ground to the product in the bottle.
Okay.
Top to bottom, they control it.
What's a good phone number to call your store or you if they want to find,
our phone number is 772-444-3820.
Say it again for all those like me that are slow.
772-444-3820.
I think probably what you don't know keeps you from trying something. So I think most people would say, I don't know if I want to try the CBD or what it'll do to me.
Well,
so far it's been 15 minutes. I have not turned into a raving lunatic. So that's good.
Well, I think part of the problem is you go to a gas station and you see it. You
They
see it
sell it at
everywhere.
gas stations?
Gas stations
Really?
do.
The oil.
Flour.
Really?
Products. So you don't know because you're just seeing it like, how do they have it? And then this store has it. And then, Amazon has it, which FYI, it is illegal for Amazon to sell CBD. So any products from there is hemp seed, hemp oil. That's why you see 25,000 milligrams, 100,000. It's just hemp seed, hemp oil. So don't waste your money. I don't care how cheap it is.
So they claim it's CBD oil, but it's not. It's hemp oil.
Claim it's hemp oil or, without the FDA regulating this, some people can try to get away, with not the proper labels or the testing.
Well, I think most of society needs a nice way of mellowing out and relaxing.
Yes, we should be able to sprinkle it.
There's got to be some other options besides alcohol and marijuana, So it's interesting. I guess, you know what it would take? It would take more medical professionals to come forward and go, hey, listen, I'm a medical doctor, and I think this has, benefits that you should consider taking. Because part of the pharmaceutical problems is a lot of drugs that help you for some things create other problems in the back end.
That's exactly what happens. So you take something and it helps that, but now you've blown 2 other receptors in the system because of side effects. So you need medication to treat that. So it's like a downward spiral.
So there's no known side effects for the CBD oil?
In very rare instances, there's headache, diarrhea.
Okay.
But some people are reacting to the carrier oil.
I get that from watching the news.
Yeah.
So not in that order either, but there really is no side effect. And I think, like you said earlier on the break, that you cannot overdose on it. But what happens? It's like a vitamin. Your body only absorbs so much.
Sure.
And then it
so
gets rid of the.
I'm on a much higher milligram because I'm fighting so much arthritis and inflammation.
Yeah.
So I'm going to need a little more than the person that says, sometimes I have anxiety.
Sure.
So and what it's doing is it's holding my inflammation at bay. If I stop taking it within 24, 27 hours, I'm practically dragging my right leg.
You are.
It comes back with a fury. So if someone says they come in after their first bottle and I say, hey, how are you doing? How do you feel? And they say, I don't really know. I say, well,
that's
stop
good,
taking
right?
it.
Yeah.
Stop taking it. And you'll remember the little aches and pains and all these little things that you've kind of forgotten why you're not taking Advil and Aleve anymore for.
Yeah. And again, folks, talk to your doctor. We're not saying to bypass your doctor or a medical profession. This is just another avenue to take. So you mentioned anxiety and stuff now, and Xanax is a fast acting agent. So let's say hypothetically someone is feeling anxious. Mm-hmm. They take a couple of drops of the CBD oil. How long would it take to kick in, you think?
On a water soluble, 5 to 15 minutes.
5 to 15 minutes.
And I tell them when they come in, if you have anxiety, you'll feel it melt away.
Okay. That's interesting. Well, so far I don't feel bad at all. I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
I mean,
you'll have a great day. It lasts up to 12 hours.
Really?
Yep.
Mom, I'm going to be in a good mood when I see you later on. So I don't know. She likes to listen to the shows, and she likes it for the most part. And I think most people should at least look into this.
Definitely.
Because it's a natural alternative.
Absolutely. And I suggest Google, if you have arthritis, Google CBD and arthritis.
Yeah.
See the research that is out there.
That has been posted too.
There has been. PubMed has great articles and studies. And, you really have to dig in and find it from a trusted, source.
So in your store, you have the stuff in the jars that you can roll and smoke. And you have they look like gummy bears or whatever.
Yes.
You have the ices
we
in the
have
ice
Italian
cream.
icy CBD.
I know you gave it to me. I haven't tried it yet because
so good.
I'm like,
do it in the evening.
Because you said, hey, make sure you have a few hours, just to see how you feel.
Yeah, you'll feel amazing.
And I'm just, the problem with me between my business, my entertainment and everything, when do I have a few hours to just sit back and go? Do it about an hour
before bed.
Before bed?
Sure, an hour before.
And it'll put me to sleep?
You will sleep. That's the number one, I would say, side effect of CBD is a good night's sleep.
It's a good night's sleep.
We all get sleep.
That's not a side effect. That's a welcome blessing.
Yeah.
Because most of us, if you're like me, I go to sleep early. I'm such a rock star.
Yeah.
I was at, I got up at 5:30. I was at the gym today, got my thing in because I need that to feel good.
Mhm.
If I skip the gym, I do feel a difference.
It's very important. Any
Yeah.
type of exercise that we can do. So ideally, it's a lifestyle. CBD is going to work for you, but it's better if if you can eat a little healthier and
Exactly,
try to
yeah.
it's a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And supplements are great. And basically, when God created everything, he doesn't make mistakes.
No.
He created a seed, a root, an herb, a plant, all of these things to treat ourselves. It's all there. And if we can all get back to that, we'll be safer, more healthy. It's just better for us. And again, even with supplements, I always say check with your doctor. Always, if it's turmeric, whatever it is, because sometimes there could be interactions with prescription medication.
Yeah, that's
so I
for
say
sure.
always check with your doctor.
Yeah, that the other thing is, again, I guess medicine has to be involved, and they want to regulate everything. Is this kind of stuff regulated at all?
Not really,
Not
much.
really,
The
okay.
FDA doesn't regulate it. Luckily, Florida does have regulations as far as labeling and testing.
Okay.
So that's nice. So if you are in the gas station or somewhere that is not a CBD store, just look for the QR code. Look for something that will show you the third-party lab results, because
That's interesting, because you don't want to get counterfeit.
no,
Is that a word, counterfeit? I don't know.
it can be.
I had 2 cups of coffee today, so it must be the CBD kicking in. So
Definitely.
But there's probably a lot of counterfeit out there.
Well, sure. Think about this. This is a plant growing outside. It absorbs toxins. It absorbs that. So when we test it, we have to make sure that's not going through to the product. Florida alone has a 50-panel solvent test, 50-panel pesticide test. You don't want to smoke that.
Okay.
It's so
Sure.
counterproductive. You're trying to be healthy and feel good, and you're smoking toxins. So just check for QR codes that you can scan on your phone.
I'm almost tempted to some musicians that I play with. I say, hey, man, instead of smoking that stuff, try this, because you said it helps you keep focus where the Cheech and Chong stuff makes you forget your name.
Totally. When I did the seafood
Wait,
festival,
what was I doing 2 minutes ago? I don't remember. Wait, that's what I was doing.
when I did the seafood fest at Twisted Tuna not too long ago, all the pirates were
you showed up at the festival?
I was a
Yes.
vendor, and a lot of the pirates were buying the pre-rolls.
Yes.
And they would come back and they're like, this is amazing. I
Really?
feel amazing. Give me another one.
Really? So how much did you how much did you sell a joint for?
The
Of the
pre-rolls
CBD,
are 1
yes.
gram and they're $10.
$10
They're pre-rolled with filters.
See that? Regular marijuana is probably cheaper, right?
It depends where you're buying.
Not that I
it.
would know, ladies and gentlemen, of course. But I do remember back in the day, of course.
Long time ago.
Very long time ago. Nixon was in the White House. So you did that, and they came back and asked for another?
Oh yeah, it's a big seller, but we have a full line of CBD products.
Okay.
We mentioned the suppositories, but
yes,
there's strawberry or watermelon rings, peach rings, a ton of edibles.
I think the thing about the smoke, I hate smoke. So that's the thing where that probably wouldn't be for me, because anything in my lungs, I don't even, I used to smoke cigars, and you don't inhale that, but it still gets in there. So I'd probably want to do either an edible.
Well, yeah, you could do an edible.
And
it's fun. Or you could do a little gel cap. It's the same thing as the water soluble.
Yeah.
There's definitely different ways and products.
So no one's called in. I guess to just kind of go to your store and tell them the phone number again that they can contact you for the the CBD oil.
Or maybe I just covered it all.
Is that what it is? Maybe that's what it is. No, I think there. I didn't know about this until I started talking to you. And when I went to your store, I was like, "Wow, look at this! This is a candy store."
It
literally.
was so life-changing for me that I dove into the education.
How long have you been doing it now?
I started the products at the end of 2018, and I actually started working there December 31st, 2018.
Okay.
And then I purchased the store January 2020.
Wow. That's when Frank made him an offer they couldn't refuse, right?
Yeah, we still haven't heard from them. No.
Yeah. Where is Fredo since you bought his store, huh? I'm glad you're doing well with it, and the jewelry business is doing well with it. And any business that tries and help people, I'm all for.
I've never been so excited. Literally, when I close my store, I'm excited to go back the next day. I am helping to change people's lives and get their health back.
Sure.
And I would definitely encourage anyone that has any interest in any of this. I went to an amazing cannabis college in Orlando called Learn Sativa University, and they teach you so much about the industry in cannabis. And
yeah, that was another question I forgot to ask you, because obviously you didn't watch a Cheech and Chong movie and got certified. You went to school and studied this.
Oh yeah,
it is an actual science.
It absolutely changed my life, and I knew that I would be in this business till I died.
Wow.
Forever, helping people and trying to educate them and, show them, check with your doctor about the medication. And
so if anybody wants to get into, because think about it, with COVID and everything, a lot of people they've had to reinvent themselves and do something else for a living. So if somebody does want to get involved in this, how long is you have to go to college and study it for?
Oh, it was a 1-month course that I went to 4 days out of that month.
Okay.
You can do online, but I like to be hands-on.
Sure.
So I did a couple courses. One was advanced extraction. So I got to work with CO2 extraction, which is how Hemp Drops extracts the CBD from the hemp plant, all the safest processes that you can use.
Nice. So, hey, but then you've got to deal with buying the supplies and maybe having a shop, because I mean, do many people sell this online? Do they try to?
I think a lot of people do. And personally, if I'm ingesting a product, I would like to talk to someone in person.
Yeah, I don't know if the
educated.
FDA wants people selling this online. I would imagine they do not want that to happen. And you should talk to a specialist, folks. I mean, because this may not be for everybody.
Exactly. Talk to your doctor. You know, there's certain medications that we know there will be interactions. You can still take CBD as long as your doctor is aware and they're adjusting milligrams. And one is Coumadin warfarin. It's just very specific. Plavix, the other blood thinners are okay. And also anti-seizure medication, because now the medication and the CBD are going to be doing the same thing. So we don't want too much of something.
Yeah, you have to see what you're taking. So if on the blood pressure issue, what you recommend is maybe take a little bit and see how it goes and take your blood pressure readings.
I would suggest starting a milligram that we agree would be best for you, whether it's the lowest, in the middle, because you might not just have high blood pressure. It might be a lot of chronic pain. So we'd start you somewhere, and then you would just be consistent on your dose with CBD every day. And that's how they would be able to judge, based on your home readings of your blood pressure, how they can start to reduce milligrams.
So you mentioned, hey, take it an hour or two before you go to sleep. But if you really want the benefits, it seems like you should maybe take it in the morning.
I love mine in the morning. I love to feel it through the day. And a lot of people don't know this either, because of that system inside of us, the ECS. This is really, think inflammation, Crohn's, colitis, IBS.
There's a lot
of digestive issues that we don't really think CBD would do anything for, but it does, because a lot of that is in inflammation and muscle spasms in the intestines. So CBD is antispasmodic and great for inflammation.
So how long has it been around?
Oh, it's been around since, the first royal documented to use it was Queen Elizabeth.
Really?
They would pull the hemp roots from the ground and tie it around her waist for menstrual cramps. So it's been around. It's just how they've been able to extract or...
so maybe like 50 years or so?
No, ancient times.
Ancient. Well, yeah, that's true. But
think about what was in the oil
that
Jesus was using. There was a lot of cannabinoids in those oils.
Yeah, well.
Definitely.
Yeah, well.
So it's been around.
It's been around a long time.
God knew we would
but it
need
hasn't
this.
really been harvested and presented like, say, in the last 20 years or so.
No, I would say it exploded in the last 3-4 years.
3-4 years. Okay. And you see it continuing?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
I see it only getting better, because CBD is a cannabinoid. There's over 140 that are identified. There's a lot more that aren't.
Sure.
So now let's talk about CBG. So CBG right now is being tested in Israel to try to combat coronavirus. What we know about CBG is it's antibacterial and slows bacterial growth. So don't forget CBG, because that cannabinoid will explode in the future. They tested it in Montreal 2-3 years ago against MRSA. So, there's just such beautiful parts. And that's in our products too. There's a little bit of everything.
Okay. So And if someone just wants to maybe try some samples,
sure,
you
come
do
on
that
in.
at your store as
Free
well,
samples
right?
of the topical cream, very fast, very
Oh, they
fast
have it on
acting.
the cream too?
Oh yeah.
So
Very
why
fast
would you do
acting.
that? Like you have a sore muscle?
So let's say,
or?
yeah, muscle recovery,
Mhm.
or maybe you just have arthritis in one joint. So maybe you don't need, you don't want to take an internal product. You just put a little pea-size amount on your knee, your shoulder, wherever it is, and it works fast. And that's because of the processes they use and the carriers that they use of how it drives it in the circulation really fast.
But most people take it for the inflammatory factors and
Sure.
the mood factors.
Mood, anxiety, and pain
Mhm.
are going to be the number one.
So I should take it every time I want to watch the news, right? Just a couple
Just
of
don't
drops.
watch the news.
Well, that's kind of what
I don't write prescriptions, but I'll write you that one.
you will. Okay, couple of drops and I can watch. Actually, yeah, I watch the financials, but I can't keep up with some of the lunacies that's out there. The world is getting crazier by the second.
I don't watch any mainstream news anymore. If I do, I will get my news from Victory. It's kind of a religious an app I have on my phone, so I know that I'm getting the truth there.
Yeah. Well, you and Frank are Christians as well.
Mhm.
You go to church, you
Oh, yeah.
believe in God, and that's everyone should really do that, because when you believe in a higher power, it makes life worth living, because this world, forget it.
Forget it.
You just
6 years ago,
Yeah.
God completely changed my life.
mhm.
And I said, I'll give you everything. I got baptized, found a church.
That's awesome.
And I prayed for an opportunity to help people get their health back, but also a platform where I could
Sure.
encourage people to have a relationship with God and know who Jesus is. And that's exactly what God gave me. So I'm very thankful.
We're all blessed. I thank God every day for all the blessings, and because think about it, so many have it a lot worse than we do.
Absolutely.
Forget about who has it better than you. How about so many who have it worse than we have it?
Yes.
You're doing better with your pain. You have a great business. You have a great marriage. We live in a great country. I still love this
Yes.
country. Are we flawed? Yes.
Oh, sure.
But every country is. There's no such thing as utopia. Just like
No.
there's no medication or thing that you can take that's 100% perfect. But I think most people would try CBD oil like this. And so what was the strength that you gave me? It was what?
So
40?
that was 10 milligrams.
10 milligrams.
No,
So it was
give you
very,
40.
very low. Okay, good.
That's what I sample
'cause-
people in the store.
So 10 is the standard dosage.
That's what we sample everyone in the store. And,
Okay.
just really depends on what they're like. I started on a 900 because my spine.
Yeah. Did you feel it immediately, like when you took that?
I don't remember. I wish I would have journaled it.
Yeah.
Because everyone can feel, 95% of the people feel the samples immediately.
Mhm.
I think I was in so much pain that I couldn't tell if it was working. But day 5, when I woke up, loud and clear.
Yeah, I think if you take something like this, you want to feel naturally well, not
Yes.
like giddy or,
No, or hyper.
yeah, or any of
No,
that
it's
stuff.
just a natural balance.
Yeah, in other words, like I love espresso in the morning, but if I have too much, I'm like, yeah.
That's why you should try CBD coffee. Because
Well, no, I do the espresso and then go to the gym and take it all out, and then I
Yeah.
feel great. But yeah, I mean, I could see. I mean, how do I feel now? So it's been about 35 minutes. I feel okay. I don't feel anything. I don't want to run for Congress or anything like that.
No,
I don't need to have chicken wings and pizza right now.
I usually tell people when you leave and someone pulls out in front of you, that's probably where you're going to notice it, because you're like, maybe they're in a rush.
Oh,
takes you
so
there.
you're telling me people should take this for road rage?
Sure.
Hey, see, there's another way, a reason that you need to take CBD. Folks, if you're angry, you hate driving in life, CBD, okay?
That's right.
You'll in 15 minutes. This is like a Geico commercial, right?
Yeah.
Give us 15 minutes and we'll give you some CBD love.
Mm-hmm.
So listen, I really have enjoyed learning more about this. I wish you and Frank so much success. Like I said, I love you guys. You're like family. And I thought it was a natural thing to have you on the show, because we don't just talk about finance. We definitely don't talk too much about politics. My producer would slap me sideways. We agreed a long time ago that we don't want it,
It's never a good idea.
Yeah, it's never a good idea. So, especially if he's had 3 hours of sleep the night before and I'm going off on a political scheme.
Well, maybe we can bring him some gummies to
Oh,
get a better
that's
night's
right.
sleep.
Evan, are you willing to try? No, absolutely not. He's like, no way. Folks, Have a great day. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you next week on Today with Denny. Thanks.
The preceding was a paid program. The content is provided by the advertiser. WSTU, its staff, management, and owners are not responsible for the content. Advisory services offered through Blackridge Asset Management, a registered investment advisor. Securities are offered through Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Blackridge Asset Management is a separate and independent entity from Peak Brokerage Services, LLC. Member, FINRA, SIPC.